Hey y'all, this is good. I found this column by Larry Elder. If you don't know Larry Elder, I just found him myself. You need to get a hold of some of his work. The easiest place is to go to creators.com, the Creators Syndicate website, and just do a search on him, and you can get all his archived articles and everything. But he writes a column. I'm just going to read it down because it's so great. Called Clinton Obama, 10 Questions in Search of a Debate. Some suggestions for the next Democratic debate moderator. Senator Clinton, you oppose the Bush tax cuts because they unfairly benefit the rich. Since the top 1% of taxpayers, those making more than $364,000 annually, pay 39% of all federal income taxes, don't all across the board tax cuts by definition unfairly benefit the rich? And of course the unfairly is in quotes because they unfairly pay more than their share of taxes. Senator Obama, you also oppose the Bush tax cuts and claim that they take money away from the Treasury. For President Kennedy signed across-the-board tax cuts in the 60s and said, "It is a paradoxical truth that tax rates are too high today and tax revenues are too low. And the soundest way to raise revenues in the long run is to cut rates now." Was he wrong? Oh, very good question indeed for Senator Obama, especially since he recently had all the Kennedys come out and endorse him. Senator Clinton, you criticized President Bush for inheriting a surplus and turning it into a deficit. The National Taxpayers Union added up your campaign promises, and they came to an increase of over $218 billion per year. What would this do to the deficit? Might add to it a little bit. Senator Obama, if elected, you promised to raise minimum wage every single year. But isn't it true that most economists, 90% according to one survey, believe that raising minimum wages increases unemployment and decreases job opportunities for the most unskilled workers? What makes you right and the majority of economists wrong? Well, he's got an election to win. That's what makes him right and the economists wrong. Senator Clinton, you want universal health care coverage for all Americans, every man, woman, and child. When as First Lady you tried to do this, 560 economists wrote President Clinton and said price controls produce shortages, black markets, and reduced quality. One economist who helped gather the signatures explained, price controls don't control the true cost of goods. People pay in other ways. Are all 560 of those economists wrong? Question number 6, Senator Obama. You once said you understand why senators voted for the Iraq War, admitted that you were not privy to Senate intelligence reports, and that it was a tough question and a tough call for the senators, and that you didn't know how you would have voted had you been in the Senate. And over a year after the war began, you said, "There's not much of a difference between my position and George Bush's position at this stage." How then can you say that you consistently opposed the war from the start? Very good question. Very interesting question. I've been against this war from the beginning. Very interesting that you didn't know how you would have voted in the Senate. Oh, I thought you were against it. I thought you were sure. And over a year after the war began, you said there's not much of a difference between my position and George Bush's position at this stage? Interesting. Senator Clinton, you want to begin withdrawing the troops within the first 60 days of your administration, with all the troops out within a year. The former Secretary of State Jim Baker of the Baker-Hamilton report said that such a precipitous withdrawal in Iraq would create a staging ground for Al-Qaeda, increasing the influence of Iran over Iraq, and result in the biggest civil war you've ever seen. What would you like to say to Secretary Baker? Senator Obama, the church you attend, according to its website, pursues an Afrocentric agenda. Your church rejects, as part of their black value system, middle classness as classic methodology of white captors to control subjugated black captives. And these are all quotes from the website. Your pastor, Jeremiah Wright, recently called the Nation of Islam's minister, Louis Farrakhan, a man many consider anti-Semitic, a person of integrity and honesty. What would happen to a Republican candidate who attended a Caucasian-centric church and who praised David Duke as a man of integrity and honesty? Senator Clinton, you recently criticized NAFTA, the free trade agreement signed into law by your husband, President Clinton. The Conservative Heritage Foundation says that NAFTA-like free trade benefits the economies of the United States, Canada, and Mexico, resulting in increased trade, higher U.S. exports, and improved living standards for American workers. Explain how President Clinton and the Heritage Foundation got it wrong, but that you are right now. Senator Obama, this question is about global warming, something about which you urge extreme action to fight. You criticized President Bush for going to war in Iraq, even though all 16 intelligence agencies felt with high confidence that Saddam Hussein possessed stockpiles of WMDs. Critics of Bush say he cherry-picked the intelligence. Hundreds, if not thousands, of scientists consider concerns about global warming overblown. Isn't there far more dissent among credible scientists about global warming than there was among American intelligence analysts about Iraq? If so, as to the studies on global warming, why can't you be accused of cherry picking? Sorry, it's early. I'd say those are some pretty good questions for the debate. Larry Elder says in his column, feel free to use these. No charge. So I did.